Hi, everyone. It's Sarah from the Support Worker Store. Today, I've got Laura here. Laura, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and talking to all the support workers, all the businesses out there about dietitian and why it's so important for the people that we serve. So let's just get cracking into this episode. What's something you could tell us about what a dietitian does?
So a dietitian is responsible for all of the nutrition assessments for participants. We then develop nutrition plans that fit in with that participant's needs and make sure it fits in their routine as well.
Yeah. So, what's the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist? Because that seems to sometimes get a little bit muddled
Yeah.
up between the two roles.
Yeah. Yeah. So a dietitian has completed a master's or a Bachelor of Science with the category nutrition and dietetics. So to get that extra bit of that dietitian qualification, you are required to do placements in hospitals, community and food service settings. So it's a little bit more of that medical nutrition delivery. So yeah, you're trained to do specific medical dietetic needs. A nutritionist, there's lots of different ways you can become a nutritionist. You can do it at uni with a Bachelor of Science, or there are like private colleges and things that run that. And the other benefit of seeing a dietitian, well, dietitians are the only ones that are covered under NDIS anyway, but we also have like a code of conduct that we have to abide by. And yeah, there's lots of extra requirements we have to do our jobs. Yeah, it's helpful for clients to know that.
So, what got you into wanting to be a dietitian? Like, what was there? Was it like the right place at the right time, or was it a build up in your career to get you where you are?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. When I was younger, I wasn't very well, so I had a diagnosis of Crohn's disease. So I was in hospital quite a bit, and I also was on tube feeds myself. So I met the dietitian at Sydney Children's Hospital, and I just thought she was brilliant. And then as I got older and I started to think about what I wanted to do, I was like, that is something that I would see myself doing, is helping other people with their nutrition when they're in that place.
So, you were inspired practically by a doctor,
Oh, dietitian, yeah.
a dietitian. Sorry, yes, a dietitian. That wow. There's a lot to unpack there. I didn't realize that you had Crohn's and that you had, so with Crohn's, for anyone that's listening out there, it is a change of diet that is required to maintain a healthy life and a bit of a change of a lifestyle as well to go with it.
Yeah, it's a combination. You really do need the medical intervention, but diet does play a big role and it can just definitely impact your symptoms. Yeah, I had to learn a lot about diet myself, so that's definitely helped me do a better job in my actual job. So yeah.
Yeah, but then learning about tube feeding as well, because that's not like to have lived experience is very different to yeah, wow, I wasn't aware. So
Yeah. I
you've
think
been able to take these
I
skill
find
sets
it.
forward. No, go.
Yes, yeah. Some of I find that if my clients are going down the tube feeding route and maybe we have to go that way, it's helpful to offer my personal experience to them. Sometimes it helps them feel a little bit more comfortable because I do know what it feels like to have that tube placed.
Yeah, it would be very surreal, like from the method of how you would eat to having it
Mm.
changed and like yeah, different functions in different places. I could only imagine. It's kind of cool that you've got that live experience because then you're able to communicate to the people that we serve quite effectively, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what led you to start Feed Me Nutrition?
So that was it was in a way born from the NDIS, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So my first job out of uni was with a larger company that served SIL homes. So they had me as an employee and I worked with a team of other allied health professionals, and we also had a nursing team on that with that company. So we would go and service all their SIL facilities. They had day programs and things as well that I could see the clients in there as well. So I started off there, loved that job. NDIS came in and just the structure changed and things changed. And it was actually in a location that's not my home location. So I thought, oh, I'll start Feed Me Nutrition, see if I can work out NDIS, how Feed Me Nutrition was born. And now I just see people as myself.
So, you've all right. So bear with me here because I'm not a very good mather. So how long have you been open and operational with your business?
So the NDIS side came in about 2017 that I started that
Yeah.
process. So I'm from the Wollongong area, so that's when that kind of came in for us. And that's when I started
I feel like
branched
this is
off
the
into the
Wollongong
NDIS.
podcast.
Oh, is it? I know everyone that you've talked to anyway.
I don't know what is going on in Wollongong. I think I need to get there because I've had multiple people come onto this podcast that are Wollongong based. So you guys must all have got the NDIS sorted or something. Something's in the water there.
Yeah, well, Jack, we all go to Jack's thing, so it might be just we all hang out with Jack.
So you've got a business bestie by the sounds of things as well. We started a movement we didn't even know. So when you are providing support for people in the NDIS, is there a specific group of people that you provide for, or is it just whoever needs advice and support as a dietitian?
I do cover quite a range of clinical conditions because dietetics it is a similar process depending on the clinical condition and we take that into account. So I do cover quite a broad range. However, when I do come across someone that maybe is out of my clinical knowledge or expertise, I have lots of dietitian friends in the Wollongong area that I will pull on to either refer them on or get some mentoring around managing that particular client. Mainly adults. I do see some children, depending on the clinical condition of the child, but a lot of adults at the moment and a lot of adults in SIL.
Yeah. So when you're saying adults in SEAL, what are some of the challenges that you face as a dietitian trying to support somebody in a SEAL environment when it comes to food?
There's a couple of challenges with that. I think one of the biggest ones is gathering the information to do my nutrition assessment. Sometimes that person can't communicate with me, so I rely heavily on the support workers to support me in doing my job. It's a really important partnership we need to get my job done correctly. So one of the challenges is if a support worker has been put on that doesn't really know that person, or maybe they're a casual, that makes it quite difficult for both the support worker and myself. So that's one of the big challenges that I do face. I'm trying to make sure we indicate when we're booking an appointment to try and get that key, the key support worker, the main person that knows that client or that participant. And yeah, it's just the information gathering. And then the next thing would also be information dissemination. So getting all that information out and making sure it's implemented correctly. So they're the two. Kind of the two.
So to gather the information, because people are living in a setting with multiple people, that might be one or two or three within that SEAL setting, is it really difficult to gather the information because it might be Tony's, his food preference might be soft food. It could be Elliot's food preference is a different cultural background completely to Tony. Does it get complicated when you're gathering that information because a few people choose to eat their dinner together?
Yeah, it can be. And I find that more so when I'm prescribing the diet because I need to, although I'm treating that individual participant, I need to be aware of the rest of the dynamics, the same as I would do if a child and a parent and a family, those kinds of things. So I do need to take into account if there's any other texture modification needs, if someone else is seeing another dietitian. So sometimes I will work with the other dietitian and we'll do that meal plan together so that both participants are accurately represented. Yeah, so there's definitely ways around it, but it's an extra thing that we have to do.
Yeah. It's quite complicated when we put it together because it's not just supporting somebody to have a healthier lifestyle or, to eat foods that are actually going to keep and maintain them in, great shape. But there's also training the support workers, the SEAL provider as well, of what is going to work for this person to be the most healthiest version of themselves.
Mm.
Do you offer training sessions for people, like
Yeah, I
support
do that
workers, when you implement?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I do that quite a bit. At the moment, I've been doing it specifically to participants, but shortly I'm going to release one that's a general nutrition training for support workers. So it'll just go through the basics like the nutrition guidelines, how to plan a meal, some little tricks on how to create a nice meal plan so that you guys have the skills to be able to do that without me having to come in all the time and train on that.
Yep.
But yeah, at the moment I do it really specifically to the client, which is always needed. But yeah, I'm hoping to offer that in the next couple of months.
It's a bit exciting. So is the training online or is it in person?
It'll be online.
Will you be able to find it on your website or through social media?
Yes.
Yeah, a bit exciting.
Yeah. So
You've been working on
we
that in
have
the
a
background. I
little
didn't know that one.
I know we have a little hidden tab on my website that is going to
Ooh,
pop up soon.
it's really exciting. Well done.
Thank you.
So when it comes to supporting somebody to have a meal and that is for them, like created from a meal plan, what is some hints or things or tips you could give support workers out there when it comes to creating a meal plan for a week with the person that is going to benefit the person that we serve?
Yeah. So in terms of a week sometimes can feel like a really daunting task. So maybe just
Yeah.
starting with a day would be a good idea. So I like to say, if we're not talking about there's no texture issues, there's not really any food groups that are eliminated for that client, I always refer back to the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. It has our 5 food groups. So working through our 5 food groups and making sure they're represented at some point during the day. So trying to get your 2 serves of fruit, 5 serves of veggies, 4 to 6 serves of grains, 2 to 3 serves of lean protein, and then your 3 serves of dairy. So, and then structuring them out in how the day would look.
When you create the plans, do you put them in easy English or any pictures and such?
It all kind of depends on the client. Some I do completely
Yep.
pictorial, like we have just pictures.
Yep.
And then I will have a document that will go alongside that for the support workers to have a little bit more of that information. And then others are just completely word-based documents, like kind of not in a spreadsheet, but in
Yep.
a table. And so I often do it as meal suggestions rather than meal plans because we don't want someone to have to eat what I've told them to eat. We want to have options, is a suggestion rather than it being like you have to have this.
Yep. And like easy to create and cook together?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. The one of the things I notice a lot is because I go into the SILs, I don't always sit in my clinic. I like to go and visit the SILs. I often like seeing them around that evening meal prep time because I can really see what's going on. I can see, how many staff are out doing personal care, how many staff are on bus runs, how many staff are actually in the kitchen, what do we have to work with here? And we have some homes that love to cook and we have lots of like slow
Mm.
cooked things and we do lots of prep, and then we have others that we have to kind of do little shortcuts, still make it healthy but have little
Yep.
shortcuts.
Do you find that the ones that love to cook have been in the industry for some time or have worked with the participants for some time? I'm just curious because I know with my background, when I've worked in houses before, I found the houses that had been doing this for a while, that had the routine down pat with the slow cookers,
Mm,
they were ready to go compared to a new startup.
yeah, I haven't actually thought about it, but I think that might be the case.
I've seen some amazing food being created in in home environments for people with complex supports and
Mm,
how they've created it, how they've made in mind for everybody that, to eat. It is a real art, to be honest. And when I say art of mealtime, when I explain to support workers, this is actually some of the best time to communicate with the people that we serve because having a meal with a family, having a meal with friends, it's an opportunity to talk about your day, to see what's happening, what's going on, to chat in general, to be able to sit around as a collective and eat. It's something
yeah,
to be enjoyed and
yeah.
to create opportunities for everyone to eat a meal that is great, but also to have that communication open. It's an area that we don't talk a lot about, but is so important how we eat and who we eat with.
Definitely. Yeah, that's for sure. And a lot of the work I do is even just not what food is served, but how we're serving it, how we're communicating what is served, how we're communicating when it's going to be served. All those things make a really big impact on that participant at eating their meal or enjoying their meal.
It's very underrated And I see mealtime, even breakfast, lunch, dinner, the whole lot as such a great opportunity to connect with people. That's what we do, isn't it? Like you have birthdays or Christmas or
Yeah.
Easter, you have the
Right.
family over and you connect over a meal. So
Yes.
when someone starts with you, what is the first couple of steps? Because I know for as support workers, we sometimes get the tail end of a dietitian's coming in to see how Sally eats and all in between. So what is the start of it and what are the steps that you do to get before you even get to the house?
Yeah, so what I usually get is I'll get a call or an email from either a participant, a family member of a participant, or a support coordinator. Sometimes I will get a support worker though, like there's no reason why they can't refer or ask me a question. I'm more than happy to jump on a call and see what they're after and if I'm the right fit and work through some things with them to get that participant seen. So I'll get an email or a call. Then what we do is I do call and make sure I'm the right fit. I want to make sure that I'm going to do the best job for this person. And then once we've kind of established that and the participant is happy with my kind of service, then I'll get all the details. So we send an online form through to whoever made the referral. We get all those details. That's the first step. Then we create our service agreement and make sure our privacy and confidentiality agreements are signed, get all of that signed, then we're ready to book an appointment. So we make contact with the person that's been specified on that form to make that appointment. There's appointment reminders at 7 days prior and 2 days prior to the appointment as well. And then we do the appointment. They're all the steps before I even get there. Yeah.
So once you get to the appointment, what's like this sounds a bit cheeky, but what's the turnaround to getting a meal plan to be getting a meal plan for the person that we serve?
Well, not everyone actually needs a meal plan, but if they do need a meal plan, depending on the complexity. So sometimes people will just need dinners. Sometimes
Yeah.
people will need the whole day.
Yeah.
Again, there'll be suggestions and there'll be flexibility within that. So it can be 2 weeks. If we're talking like a 4-week menu cycle, that's going to take me a little bit longer depending on my schedule. But if I do know that at the point of first contact, I can then book that in as well.
Once you create a meal plan, how often should it be updated for a person? Is it yearly? Is it every 2 years? Like how often should a meal plan be looked at and updated?
Yeah, so once I start sent one out, I like to touch base 4 weeks after I've sent it out, just to iron out any kinks, make sure that it's still appropriate, everyone's liking everything, and nothing needs changing. So we do that after, and then it's pretty good to go for like 6 months, and then I can just check in every 6 months. It might need some adjustments, or it might be fine. Everyone's happy, client's doing well, and we just leave it kind of thing.
Do you have to do much with the speechy when it comes to sorry, you go. All good.
Yeah, so we're best speech pathologists and dietitians are best friends, especially for dysphagia and anything to do with chewing and swallowing. We're tied at the hip.
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it? Because you need to make sure that somebody's got the right intake and able to swallow a meal consistently.
Mhm.
When how does it work? So is it from a support coordinator or the person like I'll give you an example.
Mhm.
I've served people that have had exited hospital, and in their hospital exit, they needed to have quite a couple of modifications at home, and because they got a disability or acquired a disability, whatever the right wording may be, and in that time they had to use a dietitian. Is it from the hospital that you get it, or is it from the person? Because sometimes there's a bit of confusion of where the first link comes from.
Do you mean for the speech pathologist, like where the speech pathologist
Yeah,
is?
like where do you guys connect? Like how did you hang out and connect to begin with? Is it the speechy first then a dietitian?
It just all depends. Like sometimes it's me first and sometimes it's the speech first. It's kind of whoever gets there first, whoever identifies the concern first. So I guess an example from my work is if I go in and I start doing my nutrition assessment, and part of my nutrition assessment, I don't just look at the diet. We're looking at medications. We're looking at a dentition. We're looking at bowel health, all those things. So as I go through my assessment, one of them is chewing and swallowing. So when I ask, what's food consumption like? Do you have any trouble with chewing? Do we have any, different changes in voice after meals? All those kinds of things. When I check those off in my on my assessment list, I can go, I know I need a speech pathologist now. And the same for them when they're kind of like going through things and they're like, oh, we actually need to modify. And they know when we modify, the nutrition changes. So they call me and say, we need to get you in.
It's okay to reach out once you've created it, like a plan has been created, 3 months, 3 weeks, a day in to say that something's not right with a plan, that we might have to go back to the drawing board because then their needs have changed. It's a living document in that sense.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I always put all my details at the bottom of all my documents that I send. And I make sure I say, if anything changes, if you need anything, please tell me and I will come back in. We'll reassess. We'll see if it's still appropriate. We'll change anything. If something sometimes I've had people like, oh, he really doesn't like that recipe. Can we change it for this? I'm like, not a problem. So we just swap it out. And that might be a couple of days after, and that's fine.
So, besides the creating, there's also that shopping element. What good advice would you give to support workers when helping somebody to buy their groceries for their meals?
That's a tricky question.
Is there a particular section that we should all be hanging out with, or is it as naked fruit and veggies? Like, is there any advice you'd give?
Yeah. Again, it all depends on the condition. So we have like obviously some things are going to be harder to modify than others, and some people can't tolerate, higher levels of fiber. Some need lower levels of fiber. So we're really going to go all over the shop, really. So, but if support workers are struggling with knowing where to go in the supermarket, another thing is we can talk through, what are we buying? Let's have a look at your food order. Is there anything that I can suggest that is maybe a similar product, but just a little bit more nutrition in there?
Can it be all be done on a budget, or is it a lot of money for people that we serve to spend on food?
It can, I mean, food is expensive at the moment. I think we all know that
Yeah.
the cost of everything has gone up at Woolworths
Yeah.
and Coles and all the supermarkets. It's definitely gone up in price. However, I've found that when I do work with the SILs and I work with participants and families, we can identify maybe where the larger spend items are and substitute that product if it is blowing the budget. So for example, if the amount of the lean proteins is increasing the budget too much for that family, what we do is we can substitute for some more vegetable-based proteins and see if we can get that cost down a little bit, but still maintain the nutrition. So it's working with that and what the person would prefer in that shopping list or that meal plan.
How do you explain it? Because sometimes it can be quite complicated. And I think when people think of dietitians, they automatically think of diet and they go, oh no, how do you explain it to people? So to be honest, sometimes as a support worker, so I get it, because when people are talking about, oh, you need this type of food to go with that one, and it can be quite overwhelming. Is there a specific way that you explain it to people so they just get it?
Yeah. So, well, one of the things that we're taught as dietitians in university is we always are taught to explain the diet disease relationship. So I don't love the word disease, but it's kind of explaining what the food's going to do for the person. So trying to explain that simply, that is something that we've been trained to do. And we had to do that over and over and over until we got that correct and we ticked that box. So try to make sure that everyone understands that in the most simple form. So you don't have to have done a university degree to understand that. It's just me telling you this is how it all fits into the puzzle. And then I do. So it sounds like I'm doing these big meal plans and I'm
Yeah.
recommending all these crazy things when I'm talking to you, but often I'm changing like one or two things and I'm keeping it really simple. I'm doing one or two goals per session. It's adding a piece of fruit. It's making sure that we have a vegetable at dinner. Like they are my goals
Yeah.
sometimes, and that works well because it's simple, it's achievable, and we're going to get success with that.
Yeah. So, as a dietitian, what is your favorite meal to add into somebody's plan? Is it the spaghetti? Is it the lasagna? Is it the 3 veggies and meat? Is there anything that you just is just such an easy go-to put into somebody's plan?
Easy go to. I haven't been asked that question before.
I'm always curious. I was like, because I'm seeing a couple of plans, and you're like, oh, they kind of look like similar and familiar. And I always wondered, is it just a really big love affair with pasta?
I know pasta does tend to come up a lot. Whenever I do like food charts, I see like lots of like pasta dishes. I think pasta's easy for people. I think that's one of the easy ones to do. And yeah, it's hard to say, like, because I always look at what the person's already eating and try and adjust that to them. So I try to do a variety of pasta, rice, different things,
Yep.
depending on texture modification.
And is there a naughty treat that you would recommend as a dietitian? This could be for the podcast or just for Sarah. You choose.
Well, as a dietitian, I don't think food's good or naughty. So you're probably asking the wrong person. All food is good in the right
Yep.
amount.
It really is the mindset, isn't it? And how we explain it with food.
Yeah.
You explain it not to be terrifying or overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
explaining it in a way that we all understand and that you can execute quite easily.
Okay.
Oh, I got one for you. You ready for this? Can a dietitian be paid from core or capital building funds?
Yes. So I did some support coordination, a collaboration on this today, which is
Ooh.
so timely question. I asked about core, and the ruling of the room was no. We cannot claim from core. So last financial year, definitely we were under disability related health supports that could come from core, but now we're restricted to improved health and wellbeing, which is your category 12, and then improved daily living. I think that's the capacity building, and that's category 15.
Excellent. So, do you help with things like weight loss or weight gain when it comes to healthy eating? Because it can sit between the two. It's not just a lot of people think that dietitians for weight loss, but really some people just need to gain as well to be in that happy medium area.
Yeah, definitely. There's quite a few. And depending on the disability, and a lot of the disabilities that I do work with are going to progress, and so the person's not going to be eating as well as they previously were. So it's important that we maintain their weight to prevent malnutrition. Malnutrition is when you're not receiving enough nutrition to support your body and what your body needs, and so you'll result in weight loss, muscle loss, and adverse health outcomes. So yeah, we really do need to identify that, and that's sometimes when we need to pull in those nutrition supplements, which also can be part of your NDIS plan if they are relevant to the disability and we are seeing that you're unable to meet your oral nutrition requirements through food alone.
I've got a question. Is there if you go through your career and you look back, was there a moment as a dietitian where like, God damn, I nailed this? Like this person has got a much better outcome for life because the plans that I put in place. Have you got a success story?
I think it's hard as a dietitian to talk about. I always get nervous talking about specific
Yeah.
examples because a lot of them are very. But in general, I have noticed with a couple of my when someone's condition or disability is maybe going, it's progressing. We're not seeing them doing so well anymore, and maybe one of their health concerns has started to cause some symptoms that they're not feeling that good about, and the answer was actually diet. And so we changed something in the diet that gives some of that symptom relief, maybe gives them a little bit more energy, maybe gives them a little less bowel pain, all those kinds of things. And when I see them again, I feel really happy for them because I've been able to reduce one of those symptoms for them just by a simple dietary change, and my knowledge of nutrition has helped that.
That's a part we don't talk about often, do we? Because people, as time progresses with certain disabilities, for them, it gets harder to eat and harder to maintain movement. As a dietitian, how do you manage that? Because you are slowly at times seeing somebody change in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, is an emotional. I think working in disability, I think you know yourself as well. Working in disability, there's lots of emotional moments. As the provider, we often carry that a lot. And it might be
Yeah.
when we're kind of driving home from that particular client. There's been times like, yeah, I've been upset because I connect with my clients a lot. I'm in their homes, I'm in their lives, I'm seeing them. Sometimes I have to see them once a month, and you get to know someone seeing them once a month. So definitely you hold a bit in. It's good to have lots of support. So I have mentors that we talk through those kinds of environments and those kinds of experiences and emotions, and it's important to have that support for yourself when you're working in this area.
You said mentors. Where do dietitians find mentors? Tell me more.
So they're just older dietitians or dietitians that have more experience than you. So I have a amazing dietitian that used to be one of like the head ADAC dietitians. So she mentors me through any of my tricky cases or anything that I have a question about. I will give her a call and say, hey, can we talk through this? Can we do a bit of a case study? We go through it and we bounce our clinical knowledge off each other. And then also I have other mentors here and there for different elements of dietetics.
A lot of things change, like when it comes to all of our job roles in the last 10 years have changed dramatically. Do you have to go back to uni or TAFE to retain being a dietitian, or is it just something you can get your degree and we're done? Or do you have to go back and resit assessments?
Yeah.
Oh, I've
We
never
don't have
asked
to
you.
go back and
Sorry,
read.
I'm just like curious.
No, no, I don't think you have because we don't have to resit an assessment, but we do. So I'm part of the accredited practicing dietitians program. So that's what makes us accredited and able to practice. So that program, we are required to set goals each year, which are reviewed by our association. Against those goals, we need to match that with professional development. So that's in terms of like online webinars or mentoring, like that can be taken into account as well, or any kind of professional development. So we have to do 30 hours of that minimum. And matched to our goals. Then at the end of the year, proving that we've either met our goals or we're working towards them and what we're going to do next time. So that's kind of through the Dietitians Association. We have to do that yearly to keep up our accreditation.
I didn't know that. No idea.
It's a lot of work on top of actual work. So,
And for your business, does it have to be a registered NDIS provider, or is it something that as a dietitian, anyone can enter this sector?
yeah, no. So, as an accredited practicing dietitian, you can see NDIS clients. You can only see self managed or plan managed. However, if you are registered, you can also see agency managed, which is, through the portal and all that stuff. So I am registered. It is quite a process, but you don't have to be.
Yeah, I would probably prefer it that way, to be honest. I'm registered, you've got that backing behind you. Yep.
Yeah.
So you were just talking about going to networking meetings and such. Do you pick up much business from attending, or is it from word of mouth? Like, how do people find you?
Well, I haven't ever done any advertising. I've never run an ad.
Yeah.
I've never really done anything like that. So I kind of just get people, like someone says, hey, I really like Laura. She's my dietitian. Do you want to use her? And I kind of just get people that way. I've only just started going to networking events in probably the last year. I've been a bit busy of having kids and doing all that stuff. So here and there. So I didn't have time for those evening networking events, but now I have some evenings free. So it's nice to go out and mingle a little bit.
I do
And
think it's a little
it's
bit
just
different.
nice to chat. Yeah.
Do you find you get much work from these events, or is it mostly just getting your foot in the door?
I wouldn't say I've got maybe 1 or 2 referrals from the networking events. I wouldn't say it's a lot, but I do my role of my I guess my goal of going to these networking events is to make sure that I guess if it's NDIS related, that people are aware of what a dietitian does in the NDIS space and how they can be useful, because sometimes people don't know. So even if they don't choose me, if they choose another dietitian, that's fine. I just want them to know, there is help there for their participants if they need help with their diet.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen dietitians at networking events. I've seen the physios, but I haven't seen a dietitian. So it's kind of cool to see you out and about and doing your thing.
Yeah. Well, I always like to get out of the office, so
It does make a difference, isn't it? And it makes it more human when you get to network with people in, face to face. Sometimes you find
yeah,
out more information than an email could ever bring.
definitely.
So I'd probably ask this one, but what's your go-to meal for somebody that needs soft food but still wants flavor?
So one of the meals I love, and I try and get all my participants that go on to texture modification on this, is congee. I don't know if you've had it, but it's like a rice porridge. So you cook the
Yeah.
rice really, really long, and the rice all breaks down, especially if you use a whisk. So yeah, so it's a perfect consistency, and you can add like a little bit of sesame oil and soy sauce, and like we can do soft tofu and all those kinds of things on the top, and add lots of flavor through the additions. And it's just, I always try and get people onto congee. I love it.
Is it claggy in taste or is it quite
No, it's not
nice?
claggy. You cook it in quite a lot of water, so it's, yeah.
Yep. I was just thinking it was just a bad Sarah cooking moment. How did you find this meal? Like, is this like the go-to meal or is this just from years of practice?
No, well, I'm a little bit of a foodie, so I like to try all different foods, all different cuisines if I can. And I've traveled a little bit, so I noticed it at a few different countries. They would have it for breakfast. It was actually a breakfast thing. I'm not really up for having it for breakfast just yet. I'm not that adventurous, but it's a great like evening winter warmer kind of thing.
Yeah. Because it's gone are the days of just mash, gravy and mash and that be it.
Yeah.
We really expanded ourselves. Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
there's one thing that I love to touch on, and I'm curious about this one. When it comes to soft food, so in my heyday, and we won't talk about which decade it was in. I've been in the sector for a while. One of the things that I was taught, and then I consistently teaching now, is that each food on a plate has a different taste and texture. And when it comes to soft food, just because we've vitamized it down to be soft doesn't mean we get our spoon and twirl the whole thing together to make it one big meal. I don't know about you. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's
Yes, I
horrible.
have.
Sorry,
The
it's
brand
like a
bowl.
pet hate because if all right, maybe this is a message for future self. If I ever end up in aged care and soft food, please don't do that to my meal. I like my potato and my peas separate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have. I mean, that's a whole, yeah, that's a big thing as well. And I think you're talking about like when they puree it, and I have seen sometimes
Yes,
it's all thrown in the blender.
like
But that's just
your
lack of
meal.
knowledge and not under yeah.
Yeah. Well, different food has different texture. Even if it's soft, it has a different texture, a taste, smell, the whole lot. It's like you're doing a disjustice by stirring it all into one go.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's lots of cute little shapes and molds and things we can use now. They've really developed some, I won't name drop just here, but there are some online. So
Yeah.
ask your dietitian to, yeah, to refer you on to that, because you can get little pea shapes and fish shapes and all those kinds of things. So it's really
Well,
nice now.
the experience of eating should be fun and it should be enjoyable for all. And yeah, like I said, it's
Yeah.
an opportunity.
Help
I
me
really worded that
or
horribly. So if a support worker wants to do a better job supporting the person that we serve with a dietitian, what's something that they should know or could do?
I think it's all about making sure the other support workers that are on shift with you or supporting this client or this participant is making sure they're aware of the nutrition plan, because you might get it and you might understand it brilliantly and you love it and all these things. But if you go home and know what the next person doesn't know, then it's not, and then it might be a couple of days before that plan comes
Yeah.
back out.
And then if you think about how much the turnover of support workers in care are, so to have that
Yeah.
information out there, it's got to be accessible for all, so we can all follow it, or else it's just a dead document.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I often also will email it to the team leader. We sometimes have a sign off sheet at the back, so I can go and check in a week and see, okay, who's actually cited this and read it. And if we only have two signatures, we go, okay, we've got to like do some team, we need to bring this up at the team meeting, and those kinds of things.
What's the funnest thing about being a dietitian?
I really like going into people's houses and seeing what they eat. Sometimes I like it when they show me their cupboards.
Is there a particular reason why you want to see someone's comments? Is it because of the
Like,
food? Obviously.
I just like to see what people are eating. I find it really interesting. Maybe that's part of the reason I became a dietitian. But also, I love it if I get like, if a receipt's still left at the grocery shop and you've got the receipt and you can see what else someone else has bought. I really like that too. So I think it's a dietitian thing of just analyzing everyone's diets.
It reminds me of a really good memory that I have when I'm not a great cook, but to say the least, right? but I was working in a house, and we introduced a different meal that this person had never eaten their whole entire life, and it just blew their mind. Like, it completely, like, "Oh my god, I could have this?" Like, like, it was a it was like a stir fry. Like, I know that sounds really crazy, but for some people that have different backgrounds and different upbringings, it was the first time this person ever had a stir fry. So their mind was absolutely blown. Like, "Oh god, what is this delicacy that you have in front of me?" Like, it's a small little win in that sense, but
Mm,
food is fun and it's enjoyable.
yeah. That's so nice. Yeah, I think sometimes we get stuck in, well, that person doesn't like that, but maybe they just don't know. And so I'm all about, let's offer. Like they can say no. They can definitely say no. But if we offer and we tell them what it is and we explain it and describe it, maybe they get a new food and they get that beautiful experience that you just described.
Yeah, it does. It makes, yeah. It's why we do what we do. Where can people, if they want to engage with you, where can they find you?
So they can find me on my website. That's probably the easiest way. Website or Instagram. So Feed Me Nutrition. Well, if people are looking for the actual address, or on my Instagram as well. That's Feed Me Nutrition as well.
How did you come up with the name?
Took me a long time. And I was like, how do I convey? I didn't want it to sound diety because I don't like the whole diety thing and
Yeah.
restriction. I don't like that. I think a lot of dietitians are in that space. So I wanted it something that was positive and fun, but also related to nutrition. And I wanted it to be perceived as feeding and enjoying food rather than it, being like a medical,
As a as a dietitian, do you create your own meal plans for the week for
Sometimes
yourself?
I do, but it's just rough. I usually only do dinners, so I just kind of plan out the dinners because it helps with the ease of my shopping list. And so I kind of plan out like 5 dinners with different proteins for the week, and then I guess I'm pretty good at just thinking on my feet now.
Yeah, it just comes naturally. Well, is
Yeah.
there anything that's coming up that we haven't discussed or you want to dive a little bit deeper into?
No, I think we've touched on everything. It's just that training that I'm hopefully getting out soon. I told someone the other day I'm never in a rush for anything, which is my detriment. So I should be in a rush about this because I know it's important. So it'll be out soon,
Have you
shortly.
already created the courses, you're just waiting to upload? Or is it you've got a few more to
The
create?
draft is there and I need to record. So I need to just finish and record it.
Yep. Well, that's exciting. When you have it up and running, please tag me so I can share it along my
Yeah.
networks.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for tonight and doing
No
this
worries.
podcast. All right. Thank you,
Yeah,
Laura.
thank you.
See you.
Good.
Aha, no, I gotcha.